Sheldon Adelson and his Las Vegas Sands organization, as well as the Las Vegas Review-Journal, have blasted the Oakland Raiders, and in particular Raider owner Mark Davis and Raider president Mark Bedane, for how they negotiated with Sheldon Adelson and his Las Vegas Sands deputies over the course of their project to bring the Oakland Raiders via relocation from Oakland to Las Vegas per NFL owner approval. Ever since Adelson backed out of the deal, his organization, the Las Vegas Review-Journal, has written one less than positive article to less than positive article regarding the Raiders' statements and attempts or reported attempts to find new investors for their project. But what came out Saturday night is nothing less than explosive. A bomb. That's right. It's absolutely terrible. And the implications for this I'll discuss in a moment, but let me explain. This was released February 11th at 11:22 p.m. Now, p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Now, remember at the Charlotte NFL owners meeting, the Spring League meeting last year, when I pointed to the Raiders not working with the city of Oakland in good faith, not telling the city of Oakland, the county of Alameda, the East Bay entities that they were going to talk with Las Vegas between the period of January and late April, when Davis and Bedane told Oakland people that between the NFL's decision, then looming decision, to determine where the Rams are going to go versus the Raiders, January 16th of last year, and then the need to sign a new lease agreement that they would essentially revisit the matter of discussions of a new stadium and related business issues after April 1st, when they brought on Larry McNeil, the vice president of business affairs for the Raiders and the stadium point person. But at the same time, they're actually going behind the back of the East Bay entities and negotiating with Vegas. That was a window into how the Raiders were handling, and in not a good way, stadium dealings. But what happened was that the same type of approach, in terms of not working in a way that the negotiating partner at the other side of the table could trust, came right into how they worked with Sheldon Adelson and his deputies. So what is in the Las Vegas Review-Journal as of late Saturday night, or if you like early Sunday morning, is the second piece of powerful evidence of why the Raiders don't have a new stadium in either Oakland or in Las Vegas to date. And more important than even that, it explains why going forward for the Raiders, and this is of vital importance, it will be next to impossible for them to secure a financing deal with the cooperation of anyone in Las Vegas. I want you to hear the words that I'm about to read to you that are in black and white in the Las Vegas Review-Journal that is linked to within this video blog post. Listen to some of these words. First of all, it starts out glowingly. From the start, it seemed like a partnership destined to bring the National Football League to Las Vegas. What I might add, folks, Really, the link aside, you can go straight to Las Vegas Review Journal. It's on the front page. You'll see Las Vegas Sands Government Affairs Representative Andy Aboud's image right there. You can't miss the article. They mean for everyone to see this. Okay, it says the Oakland Raiders, one of the iconic franchises in professional sports, the family of casino executive Sheldon Adelson, the Southern Nevada Tourism and Infrastructure Committee, everyone involved with the plan described it as an alignment of the stars that seemed too good to be true. And it goes on to say the Raiders couldn't secure a new stadium in Oakland, which isn't exactly true. Then it says the Adelson family saw an opportunity to invite the NFL to Southern Nevada. A special committee appointed by the governor was already examining infrastructure projects to grow Las Vegas' tourism economy, as well as provide a new home for UNLV football, which is of vital importance. In 2016, everything was lined up to build a $1.9 billion, 65,000 seat domed stadium near the Strip. Today, the Adelson family is out of the deal. The stadium's financing plan suddenly has a $650 million hole and no announced partner to fill it. And the Raiders are 6 weeks away from a meeting where NFL owners could decide whether the team can move to Las Vegas. What happened? And the next sentence is, that's a question that even representatives of the Adelson family are still asking. Stunning. And Ali Abboud calls the outcome stunning. And he provided an interview to the Review Journal and said that the Raiders' decision to take a proposed stadium lease agreement to the Las Vegas Stadium Authority, the public body established to oversee the stadium development, without telling or involving the Adelsons, was the last straw, which means that there were other actions prior to that one that led up to a series of straws that broke the camel's back. Well, that's the last straw. Now, what happened was that Abboud says this. He says, and I quote, "The concern that we had, and the concern that everybody has in hindsight, is the 117-page proposed lease agreement that did not reflect the commitments that the Adelson family made to the Raiders and that the Raiders had made to the Adelson family. It did not reflect the commitments that were made to UNLV, the University of Nevada, Las Vegas. It did not make the commitments that were promised to the community, and it was in no way reflective of the months of SNTIC meetings and reflective of what it took to get the members of the legislature to vote for the funding." Wow. And it gets worse for the Raiders. Abboud said Robert Goldstein, president and chief operating officer of Las Vegas Sands, and Patrick Dumas, executive vice president and chief financial officer for Sands, negotiated with the Raiders on behalf of the Adelsons. Dumas is also Adelson's son-in-law. The Adelsons' contribution to the stadium would have come from their personal wealth, not as an investment by Sands. After months of appearing together at public meetings and at a rally at UNLV's Thomas and Mack Center, it appeared the Raiders and the family were on track to formalizing their partnership as stadium developers, negotiated a lease agreement with the Las Vegas Stadium Authority, and build the dome. The authority would also negotiate with an events company, the Stadium Events Company as it's called, that would schedule sports and entertainment events beyond Raiders and Rebels football games. Abboud said the Raiders' tone changed when Sandoval signed the legislation, specifically Senate Bill 1, the set of 5 recommendations which turned into actual hard pieces of legislation, among them the hotel tax increase, which would fund the proposed 30-year bond issue, which has not been floated yet, okay? The hotel tax has been approved, but the bond itself has not been floated. People have made the mistake of thinking that's the case. No. But the increase for the tax and the provision to float the bond is in legislative place as of now. Now, Adelson says that the Raiders' tone changed basically after they got the money. Right? Abboud said the two sides reviewed all aspects of their partnership: stadium naming rights, sponsorships, revenues from stadium contractors, parking, signage, and use by UNLV. All those things are negotiable, Abboud said. And then even when we got to the point that we thought we had a deal, they changed their minds again, Abboud said. And we negotiate deals every day all over the world. The Adelson family has made a lot of people rich in the world. This is in black and white. This is a family that negotiates with everyone from Barney's to Emerald Lagasse and deals with the governments of Singapore and China. They know when to be reasonable and how to cut a deal. And then he goes on. He says Adelson was willing to share revenues and make it financially mutually beneficial, but they were picking his pocket. I think they felt they were asking to be entitled to revenue streams and things that simply made the deal unworkable. It was never about the financial return for the Adelsons, but the Adelson family wasn't going to have their pocket picked by the Raiders or by the NFL or anybody. And then he continues. He says, we just kept hearing conflicting stories about how we could do it and how the NFL owners felt about it. This is Abboud talking. We felt it was conceivable that they were using that as a tool for manipulation. I don't know. This is Abboud. Then came the January 26th Stadium Authority Board meeting. Abboud transported Bourdain and Ventrals to the Southern Nevada Water District meeting room. The Raiders executives presented the proposed lease, which had no mention of Adelson as a partner, to the authority staff, who made copies to distribute to board members. And then that's when the next headline is lease proposal bombshell, okay? And Abboud says, I'm still trying to figure out what they were thinking. Had they told anybody ahead of time that they were going to dump that document publicly? Remember I noted in a video, I said they did this publicly, not realizing that we're in a world of social media, right? The Raiders did. He said, even if they had told us, we don't want you in the deal anymore, if they had shown anyone that had been involved in the process at all that document, we would have said, what the hell are you thinking? Adelson reacted swiftly after hearing the news, opting to withdraw his $650 million contribution. And then it gets better, folks. Listen to this. He, Adelson, this is Abboud talking, wanted everyone in the state to know and the community to know that he would never have asked for that $750 million subsidy if we knew the Raiders were going to come forward with terms that were not reflective of anything we had discussed over the last year. He, Adelson, would have never asked for that kind of commitment from the state based on the lease agreement the Raiders proposed. The lease called for the Raiders to pay $1 per year in rent, give the Raiders full control of the UNLV football schedule, and denied the Rebels the ability to have their brand on field markings. Abboud believes the Raiders miscalculated the importance of UNLV's use of the stadium to Nevada legislators. And Abboud says, of course, UNLV should have their markings on the field. The insistence in the lease that UNLV could not have their brand on the stadium that was funded by the state is evidence of how frustrated we became. then it gets better because now Senate Minority Leader Michael